Good morning, Steve Freed in Chicago with the morning grain comments. Well, overnight grain prices are higher. I think the main thing is that the outlook for the next 10 days across the U.S. Midwest is drier than what we thought yesterday, especially in the western Corn Belt. So what we're looking at is prior to today's runs, we were looking at half to maybe 2.5 inches, 70 to 80% coverage, mixture of Hurricane Laura and a cold front moving from Canada down into the Midwest. Now, as far as the western Corn Belt is concerned, we're looking at maybe 3/10 to 9/10, locally maybe an inch or two. But the areas that will probably miss out on all this rain will be parts of Nebraska, South Dakota, Minnesota, and western Iowa. They will have the lowest coverage, maybe less than a half inch over the next 10 days. As far as the eastern Corn Belt is concerned, 1/2 to 1.5 inches general coverage. The Ohio River Valley will see 1 to 3 inches rains and up to 4-inch rains from Laura. Again, there might be some scattered showers, better for parts of Wisconsin, eastern Minnesota, northeast Iowa, and Kansas, and maybe northern Missouri. But again, there was a lot of debate yesterday on how much we've lost as far as dryness and the straight lines in Iowa. There was one crop adjuster that was out in Iowa that said that maybe as much as 1 million acres will be flattened and zeroed out. Some locals are using an Iowa corn yield of 165. Now, the skeptics in that are probably bringing U.S. acres total in corn down 500,000 and are still looking at somewhere between a 178 and a 179 U.S. corn yield. Most are keeping U.S. bean yield at around 52 bushels per acre. But the U.S. soybean crop needed this rain. So it should help the eastern Corn Belt and the eastern part of the western Corn Belt, but it may not help that northwest corner of the western Corn Belt. Temperatures do ease. They have been hot, and they do ease as this front moves across. But the key will be the market perception. The funds yesterday, pretty much buyers across the board, and they are adding to their soybean long, their soybean meal long, and reducing their corn short. We also note that we've got deliveries coming up. We expect them to be light in beans and maybe a little bit of corn, a little bit of wheat, a little bit of meal, and then that always 2,000 to 3,000 contracts of soybean oil. So we'll be keeping an eye on economics. We'll keep an eye on COVID and the impact that has on demand. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on the weather and the actual rain events. Most people still feel that we could see a 1 to 2 percentage drop in next week's corn and soybean crop ratings because of this week's heat and dryness. Farmers are talking about, like in northern Illinois and northern Indiana, that the crop is showing stress, that the beans have stopped growing and the corn is starting to show some firing in the bottom half of the plant, and that the ears are not filling out all the way to the tip. So we have to kind of figure out how much more weather premium we want to put in the marketplace versus, what the demand outlook is as long as COVID is around. As always, these are my thoughts and not those of ADM or ADM Investor Services. Have a safe and profitable trading day, and please remember to treat others like you yourself would like to be treated.